come up virtually out of nowhere. Colin Kaepernick this Saturday will be worked out with an invitation sent to all 32 teams at an NFL facility in Atlanta, Georgia. The Atlanta Falcons facility will be the home of one of the first ever NFL mini combines for one single individual player. Why? Why is the NFL doing this? Why are they doing it 10 weeks into the NFL season? Why are they doing it with very little notice to the NFL teams? Why are they doing it with just 96 hours of notice and preparation for Colin Kaepernick? Why are they working him out? You answer that question. 888-729-3776. There are three reasons I have heard proffered today about the purpose of this workout. They are as follows. Number one, a public relations stunt. The NFL is just trying to save face. Number two, it's got to be some legal requirement. It's got to be a part of the settlement, or it's got to be a part of some big business required by a third party. Or number three, it's legit. There are NFL teams who are interested in Colin Kaepernick, and they need the cover of the NFL. They need the cover of their NFL brethren. They need the cover of multiple teams to see if he's still got it. Let me walk through those three potential reasons why Colin Kaepernick will be working out this weekend. I think two of them hold water, and one does not make sense. First, is this a PR stunt by the NFL? That's what Ryan Clark, ESPN NFL analyst, said this morning on Get Up. Listen.
This seems like a setup. I know they say they set this workout up. This seems like a setup, a way to distance themselves from the blackball talk, a way to distance themselves from, we don't want Colin Kaepernick as a part of this league or a part of the NFL. And so to me, it doesn't have to be at an NFL facility. There's facilities all over the country where you can go indoors. They don't necessarily make college players work out at NFL facilities. You know what they do? They go to their schools. So if you are truly interested, if Colin Kaepernick, if you're interested in seeing if he's in shape, if he's somebody that can help your football teams, there are ways that you can go about doing this without making it so public, right? Because now it's about the PR. Now it's about us talking about it, about the tweets. There's not going to be GMs there. There's not going to be coaches there. And I believe Colin Kaepernick and his team is savvy enough to understand that. But when you try to move it to a Tuesday, when you try to get different things done and they won't do it, that smells to me.
It smells like a setup. It smells like a PR stunt, according to Ryan Clark. And he points to a couple of reasons that he believes it's all a setup. Number one, reportedly, Colin Kaepernick's camp responded to the NFL's invitation with, can we do it on a Tuesday? Tuesday is traditionally the NFL's day off, so head coaches and GMs would be more available than they are on a Saturday, where teams are traveling to game sites for big Sunday matches. They are unavailable to work out new players. And the NFL said, no, it will not be on a Tuesday. It will be on a Saturday. In fact, this Saturday, according to Yahoo Sports columnist Charles Robinson, he also smells a rat. He wrote the following. It's 3 paragraphs. I think they're fascinating, and I want to share them with you. I quote, first, a representative from the league called a select group of reporters last week and suggested they should be available on the following Tuesday for a worthwhile news development. The NFL wouldn't say what it would be, just that reporters should be ready to share some breaking news. When the day arrived, the NFL called Kaepernick's representatives for the first time in more than a year, instructing them that the league was willing to hold a private pro day style workout for Kaepernick in Atlanta in 4 days. If he accepted, a memo would be sent to every NFL team inviting them to attend. This is stunning. This is announcing to reporters, get ready, we've got something big for you in 7 days. This is announcing to Kaepernick, get ready because we have something for you in the next day or two. This is announcing to the NFL, get ready because we have something for everyone in 4 days. This is the NFL setting up a public relations event. Is it a PR stunt? Robinson goes on. The league wouldn't answer why it was suddenly making the offer. It wouldn't say who came up with the idea. It wouldn't say who would attend, and it wouldn't say why the workout was roughly 96 hours away on a Saturday when most NFL teams were preparing for a game. But the NFL would say this. After nearly 3 years of waiting for this offer, Kaepernick had 2 hours to accept it. That's Charles Robinson at yahoo.com. It all smells like a rat to Desmond Howard, ESPN college football analyst, who said this on Get Up.
I think it's a PR stunt, a disingenuous attempt to try to, hey, we gave the guy an opportunity to get to the NFL, whoever wanted to come. It's like a theater. It's like a movie. Written, directed, scripted, and produced by the NFL for their own PR purpose. And then Colin says he didn't even know about it. Now, the star of your movie, you just gave him the green light. You got to come to this facility and start up. It's, to me, a big PR stunt, and it seems very disingenuous.
I have to admit, to Ryan Clark or Desmond Howard or Charles Robinson, the details certainly lead you down this path. The short notice, the lack of flexibility. No, not Tuesday, just on Saturday. No, you can't respond tomorrow. You must respond in 2 hours. Reporters, be ready. We've got a big announcement in 1 week. It all does lead you down the path of a PR stunt. And yet I don't think that's what's going on here. Why? I don't see the incentive. What's the point? Why would the NFL need to put on a PR stunt? The NFL, for all intents and purposes, had won the public relations battle with Colin Kaepernick. At the very least, the NFL hadn't lost the PR battle with Kaepernick. It had gone away. We weren't talking about it. We weren't talking about Kaepernick. We weren't wondering which teams he would fit on. We weren't asking again, why is he not in the league? I understand that in some circles, in some areas, that conversation is still front and center. I'm not speaking to the relevance or the importance of the question. I'm talking about the spotlight of the question. Colin Kaepernick was not front and center. So why would the NFL put on a public relations stunt to drag Colin Kaepernick's employment back to center stage? What would be the point? What would be the win beyond the position they were already in? Why would the NFL need a PR stunt when it comes to Colin Kaepernick? No, I don't think that's what's going on here. Because I don't see a win for the NFL beyond what they've already won. But there are two other reasons, two other potential reasons why the NFL is putting on this workout this weekend. Number two, it is that this is simply a requirement. This is something the NFL has to do. This was part of the settlement grievance. This was part of something much bigger. Max Kellerman began to allude to something like this on First Take this morning. Listen.
My suspicion is that there is some huge, for something like this to happen, for the NFL to leak it to the national press a day ahead of time. That's not the way normally this stuff goes down. There must be some enormous piece of business behind all of this. And maybe the CBA coming right up, right? It's looming. Some enormous piece of business, maybe a lawsuit that they're afraid of, but it has the smell to me of legal butt covering by the NFL.
I have to admit that is a realistic possibility. What that means is this. Let's consider a couple potential scenarios. Least likely, a big corporate sponsor like, say, Nike, or a big corporate sponsor like, I don't know, somebody that donates or invests hundreds of millions of dollars into the NFL's business, somebody whose business to the NFL is somehow so important to the league and yet so fluid with that business, they're willing to say, we're willing to continue this as long as you put Kaepernick back on the field. Could that motivate the NFL into putting some workout like this on? I think so. Is that something you would expect from corporate America? I think not. The NFL's big business. The NFL is a success. It's a ratings bonanza. I've talked about this on the Will Cain Show on numerous occasions. If you look at the top 100 television shows from 2018, 80 some odd number of them are live sporting events. And of those live sporting events, 65 or so were NFL games. An average NFL Thursday night game outrates games from the NBA's conference finals. Outrates games in baseball outside of everything from the World Series. The NFL is an advertising bonanza for corporate America. Do you really think they would all of a sudden grow some kind of conscience, some kind of integrity, some kind of position that got in the way of their business? No, I don't find that likely. I think what's more likely is that it was a condition of the settlement that Colin Kaepernick reached with the NFL. You know, the settlement never did get quite as much attention as the grievance did. The solution, not as much as the controversy. We talked about the settlement. You talked about it here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. We talked about it on the Will Cain Show. We talked about the terms, who got the win, who got the loss, how much money did Kaepernick get. We don't know any of it because it was all under the guise of a confidentiality agreement. And therefore, we would not know if there was a condition in the settlement that said, as long as you put on a realistic, reasonable chance for Kaepernick to return to the league. Could a last-minute check the box formality of a mini pro day, a workout, satisfy the legal requirements of the NFL in a settlement? I think that is a realistic possibility. So I think that's potentially part of the settlement, but I don't think it's a PR stunt. And yet there's one more thing. One more reason that hangs out there that might even be more likely. But first, let me go to Cameron in South Dakota. What's up, Cameron? You're on the Stephen A. Smith Show with Will Cain, talking about why the NFL is putting on this workout for Colin Kaepernick.
I personally think that, yeah, it might be a PR stunt, but some of the teams that might possibly come out to watch him might see something in it and possibly bring him onto the team, not even for a starting role, but even just for a backup role, just because of what they've seen in the past that he can do.
All right, Cameron, do me a favor. First of all, turn down your radio so that you can clearly hear me and answer the question I'm about to ask you. If it is a PR stunt, even one that in your estimation can end up in a happy accident or a fortuitous outcome for Kaepernick, that some team will sign him from what was so cynical of a PR stunt, why would the NFL put on a PR stunt? What do they stand to gain?
Just, maybe to get back into the good graces of the people. I mean, obviously, like you said, there's really no clear and definite reason for them to do that, but there's always something good about news. They say bad news or no news is bad news and any news is good news. So I feel like them bringing him in might possibly show that they're willing to work out some of the problems that they've had in the past.
Yeah, Cameron, I appreciate the call. I don't think that it's likely this is a PR stunt. You're right. It is a cliche. It is a maxim that many say that all news is good news. But I think the NFL's experience with the social justice protests, kneeling before the American flag, and with Colin Kaepernick would work against that notion. I don't think the NFL looks back on that experience, the ratings in 2016, and says, I would like a repeat of that just to stay in the spotlight. I'd like a repeat of that news cycle just to keep people talking. The NFL's got plenty of people talking about whether Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson is the MVP of the season. The NFL has plenty of people talking about whether or not Jason Garrett is going to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys beyond this season. They don't need people talking about Colin Kaepernick's employment to win. I see no win in the PR stunt. One more maxim that I think might actually be more helpful in this particular question. And that is, you can never satisfy 100% of the people. I can't. Trust me, not 100% of the people like me, but 100% of people don't dislike me either. Same holds true for Stephen A. Smith. Do you think he has a 100% approval rating? Do you think he has a 100% disapproval rating? You cannot get a 100% approval rating. And if the NFL were putting this on to try to win over the people who have been lodged in their disapproval camp for the last 3 to 4 years, the NFL would be run by the biggest bunch of boobs in professional sports. Not only because their goal and intention of trying to get a 100% approval rating would be moronic, but because they would have to cross the bridge of knowing we're never going to win that group over. They've been hating us for 4 years, and one workout on a Saturday isn't going to solve that. Levi in Texas, you're on the Stephen A. Smith Show with Will Cain.
Hey, Will, so I don't think it's PR stunt at all, and it possibly very well could have been an agreement on the settlement. But I think that with all the injuries around the league and the poor quarterback rating that's going around. I think he's a possibility to be on a practice squad and maybe make his way on to into a backup role or maybe a third string. And who knows? Beginning of next year, he might just possibly be a starter if he's as good as he says he still is. Being with the 49ers, he did have a good arm, some good legs, but, you know, the controversy over kneeling for the flag and all that, I think if he did stay healthy like he says and tweets he did, he might be a good quarterback to go check out this weekend.
All right, thanks for the call, Levi. And that brings us to reason number 3 that the NFL would put on this workout. I don't believe, number 1, that it is a PR stunt. I believe, number 2, that it's potentially a term of the grievance settlement Colin Kaepernick and the NFL came together on. But I think number 3 is the most interesting and perhaps the most likely. And that is that the NFL is legitimately interested in Colin Kaepernick. That there are teams out there who legitimately might want to sign Colin Kaepernick, but that there are teams out there who just need a little bit of cover to make sure if this workout goes south, they're not the one with the target on their backs. Here is Stephen A. Smith on First Take laying out this third possibility.
I've been told that Colin Kaepernick, he'd have to throw the ball into the stands and play like complete garbage, or run his mouth incessantly, whether it be via Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. Really, really speaking out, being vigilant, being rebellious or whatever the case may be, in order for him not to have a job in the NFL within the next week or two.
Could NFL teams have a legitimate interest in Colin Kaepernick? The idea is they just need some cover. If you bring him in privately, if you bring him into your organization, like, say, the Seattle Seahawks did or the Baltimore Ravens were considering, and the workout goes poorly, or more importantly, the interview with Colin Kaepernick goes poorly, you don't want to be in the spotlight. You don't want to be talked about on First Take. You don't want everybody saying, here we go again. Here's another team that passed on Colin Kaepernick. But if you might be interested in him and you want to avoid that outcome, you need the NFL to put together a mini pro day. Bring together a dozen teams, 20 teams, all of whom are considering the possibility of employment, so that if it goes south, if the interviews go poorly, nobody stands alone. Nobody takes the slings and arrow, wears the bullseyes on their back by themselves. The idea is it's cover for the 1, 2, or 3 potential teams that have legitimate interest in Colin Kaepernick. And that leads us to the second question. Who could have legitimate interest in Colin Kaepernick? Give me a call. Join the conversation. 888-729-3776. That's Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less, only at Walmart. I think there are a couple of things, a couple of requirements, a couple of criteria that any team that's interested in Colin Kaepernick would need to check. I think they would need to be in the win now mode, a team that has legitimate hopes for this season. I think they would need to feel like their backup quarterback is a liability. Their backup quarterback is a problem, and Colin Kaepernick could improve that situation. I think they would need to have a system they're currently running that looks a little bit like the systems or the style of play that Colin Kaepernick ran. And I think fourth, they would need the organization to be strong enough to deal with the PR circus that will accompany Colin Kaepernick's signing. When I put those 4 criteria together, I come up with about 5 teams that check the boxes. Who could sign Colin Kaepernick? 888-729-3776. It's Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio with Will Kane filling in. Hey, we all love a night out, whether it's seeing our favorite band in person or being there in the crowd to cheer on our favorite team. Vivid Seats is the top source for tickets for all the live events you want to go to. To make things even better, Vivid Seats now has a loyalty program that allows fans to earn credit back. All you need to do is download the Vivid Seats app to purchase tickets and start earning today. Get out to the